absurd seems completely sane.
Oh boy, I wish All in the Family was still on and that this country and this globe could appreciate that humor now. If you don't know, All in the Family was the most cutting-edge racist show that had no boundaries whatsoever. And I miss the days where we could just say something and not have some sort of network or an action group get all up in arms. Oh, Strap In Kids is going to be a long one, considering I started on a topic that I never even thought I was going to be touching upon. Racism. Just watched Survivor. It's one of those shows that keeps my family together. We all like the Survivor still. Starting to get a little bit old, but then it gets better. But they were talking about, things taken out of context and misconstrued. The guy said, "Oh, this woman needs a smack," and everybody gets all out of shape. How many times do you say, "I'm going to smack you, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to choke you, I'm going to kill..." If other times when I'm in the shopping malls or the supermarket and my kids are doing something stupid, I'm like, "I'm going to kill you in front of all these people." I specifically say that because I know other people are listening, so I make sure they're listening. I'll say, "I'm not embarrassed to kick your ass in front of all these people." "Ooh, he's going to hit his child. That's not allowed." Not only am I going to hit my child, I'm going to smack you for listening into my conversation. So get the fuck out of here. This society is doomed, all right? Everyone is very, very high on themselves. Come on. And I remember when I was in the mall and I saw some kid doing something and the mother would come over and grab the kid by the arm and almost yank it out of its socket. "What are you doing?" Yelling at the kid. "Oh, I would never do that to my child." Now I'm rooting the mother on. Get him! Get him! Fuck him up! Society's doomed. But you know what's not doomed is the inevitable non-collapse of the stock market that we're in right now. All right? Let's bring it home. Let's bring it into the market generalizations here. All right? Everyone's been waiting. Now, I had a cheat sheet of what I wanted to talk about today because, first of all, thanks Josh Brown for letting my video go viral, and there's probably some people out there, "That guy, man, he called the bottom on the Alibaba what an idiot, talking about the Alibaba. Look at it, it's up 20 points since he made that video." Oh, we'll get to that. Let's talk about the market in general. So we were crashing, remember that? 2008, nobody wanted to issue debt. America was crumbling, capitalism was over, but the government said, "Hey, blah, 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 let's sign some papers with China, bail out some banks, and infuse the market with some money and keep interest rates at zero." Off to the races we go, right? All along, remember, 2011, we had a momentarily weak market, March, April, May, June, I think it was. Then the Ebola crisis. But sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Let me talk about the market in general. It normally seems to only go up, right? I've been saying this for years. All you gotta do is put your money in the QQQ, which is still true. The QQQ is the greatest investment vehicle there is. It's the top 100 stocks. It's all the stocks that you can't believe keep going up. Apple, Amazon, and we'll get to that stuff too. I don't want to make too many points, so strap in. But the market, what I find intriguing, first of all, sell in May and go away. You guys realize it's not May 1st you're supposed to sell in May and go away. It's now. Memorial Day weekend is when you start lightening up, and then at the end of May you sell in May and go away. May is usually a month where they grind it higher so then they could sell at the end of the month and then drop it down a little bit. Did you not know that? Because if you didn't know that, there you go. There's one takeaway from the video. Boom. Number one takeaway. Sell in May and go away is generally at the end of the month. And May, if you didn't know this, number two, May is one of the most well-performing months of the year for the market. You wouldn't think, because everyone's selling May, go away. No, it's not how it works. They run the stock market, the they that's more powerful than us and the Illuminati and the If you guys watch Blacklist, what do they call themselves? The Cabal. They're all out there, right? There's 1,000 underground organizations controlling the world. Don't you think they mess around? Don't they get on each other's turf every once in a while for world domination? I don't know. Maybe that's how wars are really started, from these secret societies. Bring it back. Bring it back. Where are we? The market, right. It seems to only go up. Okay, sure. So what I wanted to say is the selling may go away. We got to that point, right? Okay. We also have a market. Now, I don't know why nobody remembers this. For everyone who's skeptical about the market, it's too high, too fast, got to pull back, it's got to have a correction first to refresh. Does no one remember Ebola? I mean, I understand there has been 20 to 30 different moments where we were supposed to go down. Bird flu, SARS. Should we start the list right now? Fiscal cliff. Fiscal cliff. Getting a fist in your fucking cliff. How about that sell-off? Lasted. The VIX, remember the VIX when it used to go up? Flying into the close during the fiscal cliff, only to crash and never to be heard of again. That was the last time the VIX was going higher, was the fiscal cliff. Fiscal cliff. There was something else. The government shut down. Don't forget about Crimea and every other country going out of business. Remember Greece and Spain and Italy and Portugal and all that stuff? But the point I'm trying to make here, if there is a point, we had the correction. We've been rallying, yes, every day. Companies that don't make any money then still don't make any money now. Amazon, still going higher. Netflix was going out of business. Now it's the greatest stock and people are putting $1,000 price predictions on it. Woo! They ruined their business when they were transferring from DVD to streaming, like they weren't going to figure it out. Oh, you got to get out of this stock. $60 to $650. Not a bad trade. Nice trade. Amazon never will make money ever again, but that's the business model, so we've accepted it, so the stock only goes up. Apple makes shit that we need to buy because my apps aren't working on my phone, so I have to get a new phone. Got to buy Apple. All in the QQQ, don't forget. Tesla, right? Oh, the battery's this, the battery's that. No, you got to own it. You got to own Tesla because it's the new Steve Jobs stock. It's the new cult stock, and we'll get to Shake Shack in a second. But what I'm trying to say is we had a correction. It was called Ebola. The Ebola correction. We couldn't think of anything other than, like, what can we make the market go down on? Let's see. I don't know. Let's unleash some sort of flesh-eating disease down in Africa. Yeah, put it in Africa so we'll sort of care, but not really care. I got an idea. Let's say someone in America actually brought it here from Africa. Oh, that's sick, dude. That's a sick idea. Let's do it. That's what happened. So we had this, no one's going to fly, we're all going to be hunkering down, staycations, the airlines are going to crash, no one's going to want to do anything, and worldwide terror spread for 48 hours, 72 hours tops. Whoosh, and then it was over. And you had to buy stocks. So, I don't know, I thought I saw the QQQ go from, like, what was it, 107 down to 90? Something like that, or 104 down to 90. Seems like a 10% correction to me. What more do you need? There it was. So, got November, December, January, February, March, April, May. So we had one just 7 months ago. How many do you need? One every 18 months? We're getting that. Remember, 2011 wasn't the greatest year. We grinded and went down, and we wound up rallying at the end of the year. But we are getting the corrections. We are getting the pullbacks, and they're just different corrections than what you think are corrections. Now, here's the thing about the correction and the pullback and everybody's belief on them. Here's what's going to happen. If you're the guy that's waiting to buy the market when the market starts correcting, you're not going to buy. You're lying to yourself because when it starts correcting, you're going to be like, I told you so, I told you so. I knew this market was going to go down eventually. Oh, let me see what I can buy. And then when it gets to the price where you thought you were going to buy, you're going to say, man, let's see if it goes lower. Let's see if I'm going to be ultra savvy here. I'm going to wait for it to get capitulation and oversold. And then it's going to capitulate and get oversold and it's going to bounce. And you know what? You're not going to buy it. So you're going to miss the correction. And then you're going to be bitching and moaning about missing it. Then you got the shorters who are waiting for correction so they could short the market because you've been lying to yourself saying that you're short the market all this time because, obviously if you've been shorting the market up until today, unless you have the greatest timing and the luckiest person in the world, you probably lost almost every time if you held a short for more than a day or two. Obviously, unless it was coal, rare earth, some awful drug stock, or, something like that, or the UVXY. But where are we now? We're in a market that generally doesn't want to go down. Grind, grind, grind. I don't even know what's happening now, nor do I care. Because I know the UVXY has a 90% chance of being down, if not today, then Monday. Does it matter? It's really all I'm doing now. I'm just borrowing money to sell UVXY naked calls. And I just need to start rolling them because I'm running out of money. So, where were we? All right, the market correction. Yeah, so there's the market guys it's going to dip. You're not going to buy it. Then the shorters who you're not going to short the market because you're going to feel like you just missed the turn and you want to be so perfect when you short something and then it's going to go down for 2 more days. Then you're going to short it and then you're going to wind up getting squeezed out of your shorts and it's going to cover and rally and keep going higher anyway. So the correction is not going to serve any purpose except for the people that are going to be in the market already. The market's going to correct. You're going to be like, oh, too bad I didn't sell. Then a week later, it'll be higher anyway. What's the correction going to do? It's not going to do anything. So if it does start to correct, make sure if you're thinking about buying something, step up and buy. All right? If you wanted to buy Tesla at 185, right? Oh, well, here at 185, I was loving it, but now I'm thinking 165. Yeah? How do you love it now? Boom, you missed it, right? You're waiting to buy, and then you're waiting some more. That's what really happens all the time. Let's put some songs on. Anybody have any requests? Like I'm talking to a live audience right now? I don't know. How about some bass nectar? I don't know. What do I have on my computer here? This is crazy. I'll put on one of my favorite songs of all time. How about that? Sloop John B. Beastie Boys. I don't own the rights to this song. One of my favorite songs of all time. This, White Rabbit, and Emotional Rescue, if you must know, plus every Bob Marley song. I'm a classic rock kind of guy, but I'm into this new stuff. Airborne Toxic Event. I guess you guys know Vampire Weekend by now. Some new stuff. My friend's band called the Heavy Birds. Hey, I gave you a shout out there, fella. Tripped Out, rock and roll. I love that stuff. All right, any moment I'm going to be interrupted by my 3 Brazilian cleaning woman team soon. So where were we? The market never goes down. The UVXY. All right, let's talk about Shake Shack and everybody's belief that this thing should crash at any minute right now. Ever hear GoPro? Remember the same attitude about GoPro? I can't believe it goes up. I can't believe it goes up. Shake Shack is Tesla. I know Kramer probably said something like that, right? It's the Tesla of hamburgers or whatever. It is. Everybody wants to own it. Doesn't matter what the company makes, how much money they're going to make, what stores they're opening up, metrics. None of that matters right now. You want to own it. You got to be in it. The earnings report's out of the way. It dipped on the earnings report for a second, and now it's back. Now, here's the thing about the market. When you get one of these momentum stocks, what happens? It goes to 80. First it gets to 70, and then you know it's going to 80. But if it goes to 80, generally they go to 100. Now the question is whether or not the stock will now go to 120 or fall back to 80. I would not short the stock until the day it's up 30 points and reverses and goes negative. I will never trade that stock ever unless there is some sort of meat catastrophe where the stock is just plummeting, and I'll probably be buying it that day because chances are it'll go back up the next day. It just shows you what this market's all about. Amazon never makes profit, stock's only going to go up, right? You thought Tesla was going to have some issues? No. The momentum stocks are still in play. So until Amazon, Tesla, Baidu's hit a wall finally, but this market, it's got so much other places to put the money, it keeps it going higher. So let's talk about the UVXY now, because everyone's been asking me about it. Oh yeah, it was a great idea, right? Buying the UVXY. So if anybody bought the UVXY, since we've been talking about it, which is now 2 or 3 months, especially Let's talk about how it all got started. A couple of years ago, my friend kept buying VIX into the close every Friday and then selling it for a loss on Monday, worried that something might happen over the weekend or the market might finally crash. And I was like, you do realize this is a product that never seems to go up no matter what. Even when the market's down, it doesn't seem to go up anymore. I was like, why don't you give up on it? And years of watching the VXX, I didn't even know about the UVXY yet. Just watching this thing disintegrate. I'm like, does the VIX even exist anymore? If the market's complacent, the VIX should be at zero. And if these things, you understand, these things are not tracking the VIX point for point. There's contango, erosion, whatever you want to call it, because they're using futures contracts in the UVXY. When the futures contracts disintegrate and go to zero, so that thing gets chipped away at. So when it's split 5-for-1, all you had to do was short the stock. So far, you're up, what, 4 or 5 points already. Now, let's talk about what we've been doing is, because the UVXY had been so volatile in the past, there were some long-term options that still had bids. My personal favorite was when the stock was still in the 30s, the January 2016 $200 calls were $8. 8? That means this thing had to go, I think this was in January. Maybe November, December, January. I forgot what month when I first sold my first contract. Now, I'll tell you, I was afraid to sell that contract. Maybe I didn't understand. Why was this thing worth $9? I remember when I first looked at it, it was $9. I was like, there's no way this thing's going from 30 to 200 in 10 months, especially in a market that seems to only want to go up, right? I understand the risks involved, that maybe there could have been a nuclear bomb that went off. But again, if you're long the market, you're on that same risk. But it still wouldn't have gone up from 30 to 200 in a day. You would have had a chance to cover. It's not like you would have lost everything. So I shorted 1 or 2 contracts just to see. Next thing you know, they were at $5. I was like, oh, I guess I should have sold some more at 9. So I started selling 5s, 4. And then the UVXY, it seems like, since I started selling these calls, it really started disintegrating at an alarming rate. But the $200 calls were still $2. This thing was at 17 bucks. The $200 calls were still $2. Started selling those. September 60s were still $1.50. Didn't make any sense. Sold some of those. My favorite was the June 85s. The June 85s. When this thing was down at 15 bucks, the June 85s were still 20 cents. So I sold 100 of them. I know it's a stupid amount of risk, but I sold 100 calls for an average price around 20 cents. Took in $2,000, which is not a, but it's $2,000 that I figured it's going to be my $2,000. This thing's never going to 85 by June. So I covered those yesterday. Or actually, I covered them on Friday when they finally went to a penny. Now we got the split, right? Ooh, the split. If they keep reverse splitting the stock, eventually there's only going to be 10 shares on the market. So then maybe it will start going up. But no, it's a busted product, built to only go down. And if you think the market's only going to just go sideways, up, or slightly down, you're still going to win. So the market will, if the market goes up, sideways, or just slightly down, without a crash, you're going to make money shorting the UVXY. Now, I don't say short it right here. Again, $39. I'm shorting right now. I started shorting $80 calls for December. Yesterday were $8. I was like, shit, I'll sell them for $8. And they already went down to $6.60. Selling something at $8, buying it back at $6.60, that's still, it's a good trade in one day. Or if you just sold the thing short the other day at $42.50. It's a busted product. If you want to learn more, I talk about it every day. Again, if you guys want to hang out with me on a daily basis, I really only do this 20 minutes a day now, half hour. For the guys that pay the extra money, I'll stay on till 11:30, 12 o'clock, and then I come back later on the day, kind of give a recap. But when I'm pretty secure on what the market's going to do, you think I want to sit here and watch WUBA, W-U-B-A, go up and down $1.50 on 3 shares and try to do something with that? Nah. Am I going to jump into BlackBerry now just to watch it roll back over and go down? Nah. It's hard, this market right now, because the intraday chop is annoying. the swing trading is impossible because, or not impossible, but every 3 days it seems to completely go the other direction, right? Until that changes. So swing trading has been hard because this market can't decide what it wants to do. We just keep on going sideways. Shorting is impossible because we don't go down for more than 5 or 6 minutes. Every once in a while you find one stock that goes down. But there was some more stuff I wanted to talk to you about, but I don't remember. Plus, I'll probably say it on the market on the live show, and I've just run out of energy. So, if you want to contact me, and again, you know, what we're trying to do is, I'll show you a couple of things that I've learned with the VWAP and the reversals in the morning. I'll spend some time with you every morning. But really, what it comes down to is getting some intuitive information from me, like this SRPT, and we'll leave it on SRPT. Why was I long this stock? Oh, I'll tell you why. Every morning they gapped the thing down, and by the end of the day it was closing near the highs. That means someone's trying to accumulate it. Those are things that you pick up after all these years. Then I was trying to buy options in the stock, and some of these contracts were 50-cent bid with a $4 offer, no volume. I'm sitting there trying to bid it at a reasonable price. Nobody's printing me. I'm thinking there's got to be something up. Next thing you know, it's popping 10 points. That's intuitiveness and knowing the market and, you know, being a little bit with the conspiracy theory. Once I saw the option spreads, I was convinced that something's going on. They don't want anybody in the stock. So there's probably going to be a pop any day now. Now with ACHN, our loser here, we get good news, what was perceived as good news, but because it's also looked at as the takeover is off the table, the ACHN premium came out of the stock. Now, I don't know whether this thing's getting bought out, whether their drug works, nor do I care. I just look at price action. I think I'm ready to throw ACHN. And you know what? Put ARIA in that junk pile also, with the Amrins and the Walters and the MCPs. And if something happens with those stocks, who cares at this point? I don't care. All I care about really is the UVXY and the QQQ. QQQ going to 143, UVXY rolls over and keeps on going to 0. That's really what it's going to come down to. Alcoa, US Steel, Fuel, MVIS. I got smidgens of all these stocks. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I just want to be there for the day where we actually do go down for more than 2 or 3 days. I'd like to be involved on that and the downside. So that's what I'm looking forward to. See if this market actually pulls back, or we can make some decent money over a 3-day period without having to worry about the market just ripping back up in our face. Or if we break out, just go long. The QQQ, I'm already looking at January 2017 120 calls. Because by January 2017, the QQQ should be around, what, 145? All right. Everybody else, sorry I haven't got back to you. I kind of like doze off in the middle of the day, and then next thing you know, it's 4 o'clock and the kids are home, and it's best to talk to me at night. So let's start talking again, and we'll take it from there. All right? See ya. Oh, you know what? I don't know if I even mentioned this in the video. If you thought for a second I was short Alibaba, just because I think the company is... I am insulted that they made the Chinese IPO, the greatest IPO in the history of mankind. I found it comical that nobody was talking about the counterfeit goods. Did you think for a second I would be nuts enough to short that stock into an earnings report? Now, it was fun when it broke 80. I was short when it broke 80. But then I had a guy who said, hey, it just hit 777. That's good luck in China. Maybe we should buy the stock back. And again, when I was short at 80. I covered at 79, 75. I made a quarter. Quick quarter. Day trading, you know. Then it fell 2 points. I was like, ah, shit, man, what did I do? And then at 7777, you know, guys like, hey, maybe we should buy the stock back. I'm like, well, let's see if it bounces first. And then it started bouncing. We bought it back at 78.50. I think we made a quarter. And then the earnings were the next day. Do you think for a second I would be stupid enough to short this stock into an earnings report? I wouldn't buy it or sell it short into an earnings report. And then after the report came out, whether the numbers were good or bad, it's all about how the stock reacts. Once the stock reacted positively, did you think for a second the shorts who did stay short weren't scrambling to cover, and that this became one of the most monstrous buys on the face of the earth. Because why did this market go up most of all? Short squeezes. Short squeezes. 9 times out of 10, why is the stock going up? Is because somebody was betting against it. Now they're panicking. They got to cover it. And so forth and so on. The government perpetuates this, and the shorts have to cover them, go on and on and on. All right. I'll see you.